Dubai, with its towering skyscrapers and lavish shopping centers, paints a picture of a city that stretches the limits of what's possible. Everything there screams bold, plush, and carefully crafted to wow the globe. Yet, behind this dazzling facade, often hailed as the hub of tomorrow, lurks a lesser-known reality, a gritty corner where the shine of gold fades into dust and the glitz melts into a tough, stifling struggle. That place is Sonapur. To most tourists, it's just a vague name, a dot ignored by guidebooks, but for countless migrant workers, Sonapur is the raw essence of making it through each day. Today, Nice Globe is pulling back the curtain on this stark divide between two Dubais, one where extravagance glows like a beacon, and another where scraping by is a daily grind. Nestled on the southeast edge of the Persian Gulf, smack in the Arabian Desert, Dubai's prime spot links it effortlessly to the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and Africa. It's one piece of the United Arab Emirates, a union of 7 emirates, which catches a lot of folks off guard, right? Beyond Dubai, the UAE rolls out Abu Dhabi, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Quwain, and Ajman. And while Dubai steals the spotlight, the real capital is Abu Dhabi, sharing its name with its emirate. Dubai is a jaw-dropping marvel, carved out of one of Earth's toughest climates. Framed by endless sand dunes and lapped by the Persian Gulf, it's a study in extremes, dazzling towers and neon glow on one side, sprawling desert sands on the other. Don't let the sandy stereotype fool you, though. This city's got more variety than meets the eye. This metropolis, now a symbol of riches and progress, didn't always shine so bright. Rewind to the early 1900s, and Dubai was a quiet fishing hamlet. Its port sparked growth, fueling trade across the seas and pearl farming, nudging it into a key player in the Arab trading scene. The game changer hit in 1966 when oil was struck in the Fate Field, roughly 120 kilometers east of town. That black gold kicked off a windfall, but Dubai didn't just kick back and cash checks. The city spread its bets, building an economy on trade, banking, services, tourism, and beyond. What's come out of it is a powerhouse that's cut loose from leaning solely on oil, constantly reshaping itself with every sunrise. Dubai's poured buckets of cash into its makeover, but most of that dough's gone to flashy facelifts, leaving deeper problems in the dust. Take the infamous line of sewage trucks, a global head-scratcher that's become a symbol of this imbalance. Sure, those viral pics are old news, and the city's tackled a chunk of the issue, but they spotlight a truth. Leaders race to erect jaw-dropping towers before sorting out the pipes to support them. Even now, with upgrades underway, Dubai leans on those tankers here and there, since the full sewage network won't be ready until 2025. The city's skyrocketed into the world's top tier lists, but that growth's gobbled up land once ripe for farming, trading green fields for concrete jungles. And here's a kicker: desertification's speeding up the squeeze on farmland. In just 16 years, from 2002 to 2018, Dubai waved goodbye to 56% of its workable soil, over half its fertile ground gone. This shrink happened right as the city's hunger for food and water shot up. Between 2004 and 2019, the population tripled, jumping from 1 million to a bustling 3,300,000 souls. Poor planning piled on the pressure, with less land to grow food and more mouths to feed. Dubai's had to lean hard on imports to keep everyone fed. Chasing self-reliance, though, brings some wild stats into play. That 3.3 million headcount? Nearly 90% are transplants from abroad, making Dubai a melting pot where cultures collide. Islam holds strong as the main faith, while luxury's the city's loudest brag. It's home to engineering marvels like the Burj Khalifa, the planet's tallest skyscraper, and those man-made, palm-shaped islands that scream innovation. Dubai's a living billboard of wealth and progress. Tourism pumps life into its economy, and every new structure seems to holler, "Step into tomorrow." With the lay of the land and its vibrant mix of cultures in mind, let's dig into the heart of the story, the Dubai that doesn't make it into the glossy travel brochures. You've heard the saying from riches to rags? It fits like a glove here. Picture stepping over an unseen divide. On one side, you've got Dubai's swanky 5-star hotels, man-made beaches, and upscale eateries where visitors soak up the sun. On the flip side, there's a corner that feels like it's ripped from another reality, where the sparkle fades into a gritty fight to get by. That's Sonapur, a sprawling setup that looks more like a lockup than a home. This is where migrant workers crash, the very folks who hammer together the dazzling Dubai of everyone's fantasies, yet live in a world miles away from the plush life. Forget the Instagram glow. Sonapur's packed with tight, run-down shelters where everything's communal, from sleeping quarters to the grind of a back-breaking daily slog. Someone's got to foot the bill for all that shine, and here, it's a stark split between extravagance and hardship. To get why this gap's so wide, let's rewind a bit. Back in the 1960s, Dubai was a sleepy British protectorate, a humble spot for fishing and trade. Camel drivers roamed the sands, and life was simple, low-key. Then, bam, oil struck, flipping the script overnight. This quiet village morphed into a global powerhouse, a magnet for dream chasers worldwide, like a new-age gold rush. That's when the call went out, pulling in workers from far-flung places. Now, about 85% of Dubai's residents hail from abroad, streaming in from South Asia, the Middle East, Europe, even the US. It's a cultural mashup that gives the city a one-of-a-kind vibe, a place where it seems like there's space for all, doesn't it? And sure, there's a spot for everyone, but the catch is, some land at the top of the heap while others scrape by at the bottom. If you want to know more, leave a comment with the number 6 factorial. Over in Sonapur, workers' lives clash hard with the downtown dazzle. Their homes? Rough, half-built shanties, missing doors and windows, where the heat hits like a wall. In a city where temps climb to 50 degrees Celsius, good airflow's a pipe dream, and a sea's a luxury they can't touch. So why do they stick it out in such tough digs? It's not a simple answer. Here's the deal. These folks left their home countries chasing something better. For many, the cash they earn is a lifeline, a chance to bankroll their kids' education or lift their families back home out of poverty. That hope keeps them going, even when the reality bites. Well, unfortunately, there is a kind of mafia here. There are many companies that go to these countries, such as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines, to hire workers and bring them here under the promise that they will have housing, food, transportation, everything they need, even medical insurance. But the reality is quite different. When these workers land in Dubai, they realize that the promises are just empty words. The much-vaunted improvement in their lives turns into something more akin to slavery disguised as a job. But you might be wondering, why don't they just leave? Most of them lose their rights the moment they set foot in the United Arab Emirates. As soon as they arrive, their employers confiscate their passports and send them straight to Sonapur, where they are virtually isolated. And to make matters worse, local legislation is not on the side of immigrants. Dubai boasts one of the planet's lowest unemployment rates, a razor-thin 0.5%, but that shiny stat masks a tangled truth. Lose your gig and the clock starts ticking. You've got 30 days to snag a new job or you're shipped out. For many, that means grabbing whatever work pops up just to stay afloat. It's a relentless loop, boxed in by strict rules, where folks scrape by, stashing what little they can to wire home to their loved ones. Most are stretched thin, barely covering the essentials. Take this, a cleaner in Dubai pulls in about 800 dirhams a month, roughly $200. Out of that, more than half gets sent back to family, leaving a sliver to live on. Sounds decent compared to some countries' bare-bones wages, right? But hold up. Dubai's price tag is steep. A tiny studio apartment, those one-room deals, runs between 1,500 and 4,000 dirhams. Picture trying to stretch that paycheck in a city where every dime gets gobbled up fast. The solution is to share. On average, each worker shares a room with 5 other people in order to save as much as possible and guarantee the basics, food, clothing, and transportation. These workers' days are long and exhausting. Often, the men who work in Sonapur don't even have the minimum conditions to maintain their hygiene. The accommodation for migrant workers in Dubai, known as work camps or labor camps, often has precarious conditions. In these places, it is common for several workers to share small rooms with capacity for up to 10 or 15 people in spaces of around 10 square meters. The sanitary facilities are usually communal, with toilets and showers shared by a large number of residents, often in an inadequate state of repair. There is almost no shower. The solution for many is to use a bucket. The kitchen is communal, visibly dirty, and totally out of line with the quality standards of other countries. With several workers crowded into spaces that are normally built by themselves, the most frightening thing is that even the pipes and ventilation spaces were built by the workers without supervision by the responsible bodies. Although many of these accommodations offer air conditioning due to the high temperatures in the region, maintenance is not always adequate, affecting the workers' quality of life. In other words, it's almost inhumane. And so, the salaries which at first seem like a promise for the future turn out to be insufficient to cover expenses and send money home. The expectation of prosperity turns into a struggle to simply survive. Many of these immigrants end up getting into debt and living in a cycle of poverty and exhaustion where the hope of a fresh start becomes more and more distant. Can you understand now why they won't leave? How can you leave with no passport, no money, and tied up in debt? Not to mention the fact that many of these workers don't get paid. It's not hard to find workers with signs begging their employer to pay them what they owe so they can go home. And it is in this scenario, bleak in itself, that even more disturbing events arise. Imagine spending years away from your family in a place where the distance is not just physical but emotional. These workers arrive with dreams and energy, but as time goes by, the promise of a better life in Dubai turns into a crushing routine that consumes body and spirit. They work without rest, without seeing the end of a journey that drags on, while the opulence of the city shines in the distance, untouched. And it's not just the physical exhaustion, the mental battle is brutal. The loneliness is constant, the emptiness immense. Many end up falling into a state of apathy in which every day seems the same, without color, without hope. That Dubai glow, which once represented a new beginning, is now a dense, suffocating shadow. For some, the weight becomes so unbearable that life itself loses its meaning. While they survive on the bare minimum, luxury in Dubai reaches unimaginable levels: gold-plated cars, ostentatious mansions, products that seem straight out of a fairy tale. And yes, this is possible in the United Arab Emirates. They have their own mines, an abundance of wealth so absurd that part of the population seems oblivious to the human price that sustains this greatness. Planning a trip to Dubai? Here's a heads up: steer clear of the neighborhoods where these workers bunk down. They're flagged as danger zones. Local officials ban outsiders for good reason. The stark poverty, neglect, and raw struggle in these spots clash hard with the city's polished, high-end vibe. To the world, Dubai is a sleek wonderland where dreams come true, but that picture's been carefully polished. The plush hotels, top-notch dining, and VIP events are just a slice of the tale. Dig deeper, and you'll find a setup that leans on the backs of the least fortunate, grinding them down like gears in a non-stop engine. Tourists head home with snapshots of a dazzling escape, while migrant workers lug the burden of a life poured into someone else's vision. Sonapur stands as a quiet, grim marker that the extravagance enjoyed by a handful rests on the shoulders of countless others. Will this side ever step into Dubai's spotlight, or stay tucked away as the city skyrockets, masking the people who prop it up? Drop your take on Dubai's real story in the comments. Loved this peek behind the curtain? Give it a thumbs up, share it around, and hit that subscribe button for more. Thanks for sticking with us this far. Catch you in the next chapter of our nice globe journey.